Let me explain why company culture is vital to longevity, why success in the long run depends on company culture. I'm Zulf Chowdhury. I'm an economist. I'm also CEO, and I've been studying companies for the last 45 years. And there's a couple of things that I've noticed that companies, and the data proves it, that 70% of companies go bust in the first 2 years. The ones that survive linger on. There's only a few, maybe 5% of those that actually last longer. And there's a reason for that. And I don't think it's anything to do with money or opportunities, expanding business or using AI or anything like that. It's to do with culture. Now, what is culture? Let me explain. It's a set of morals and a set of values that you have towards your staff, towards your customers, your suppliers. And that's what gives you a firm basis on which to keep going. Now, let me explain. If you don't have a set of values, how do you know what kind of staff to employ? If you don't have a set of values, how do you know how to treat customers? How does your staff know how to treat customers? Obvious. If you don't have a set of values, how do you make decisions? How do you make corporate decisions? How do you make company decisions? Even for small companies, when you make decisions, you're based upon something. And that something is the values that you hold, the values that you cherish, the values that you yourself would like to employ and value. So it's important that you get that right. It can be reflected in, for example, your dress code. It can be reflected in hours of business, how you go about doing that business, how you treat your whole gambit of people that interact with you. But much more importantly, it provides consistency. It provides a kind of staff confidence. It provides resilience. And resilience is the key to lasting. Now, when I say resilience, I don't mean just, we can survive. It's how we use new technology, how we use new ideas to produce a culture that keeps thriving, keeps innovating, keeps changing. But in changing, it keeps its values the same. So that is the key thing. Let me just explain that companies that survive have that. And the companies that don't may last because they have 10 million customers, but in the long run, they're not going to survive. Let's just look at, say, Marks and Spencer, something that I'm aware of. I buy from Marks and Spencer. Why? Because if I go back and the clothing I've bought is the wrong size, doesn't quite fit me, I just go back. I don't even have to have a receipt and say, I want to replace that. They don't ask me a million questions. They just say, fine, either we'll replace it or we'll pay your money back. Great. But you can see that in their staff as well, because when you go in, their staff are so helpful. You think, I can't go wrong. Yes, I'll take their recommendation. In the same way as I learned years ago that when you went to a public sector organization and they were buying from IBM and you said, hey, you can buy these computers cheaper somewhere else. And they said, yeah, but we don't get IBM backup, don't get IBM support. We know IBM will last, therefore it's worth buying. So they were putting value in, even though they were paying maybe twice as much, but they got what they paid for. So it's important that you understand that people are prepared to pay for value. But they're prepared to pay for company value, what you stand for. Now, the other thing is that, for example, something like another company is Nike. You buy their trainers because they've got good PR? No. You buy their trainers because you think, well, actually, they have some moral values. They do it well. They're egalitarian. Other companies have the same thing. The cooperative bank or the cooperative building society or the cooperative shops might be fractionally more expensive, but they've got a value that you will appreciate. Now, bringing it down to the level of a small company, I've been in restaurants, I've been in shops where maybe I've felt aggrieved, and instead of addressing my grievance, they've just said, well, that's it, take it or leave it. I've never been back. So if you want to have a thriving business that's going to last, talk to your customers. It's part of this social engagement. You talk to them, you improve, you keep your customers because they know you listen to them. And if you don't, forget it. So you can go to an MBA class, you can go to all these classes that'll teach you various principles, but the core principle is always going to be the values you start with. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just drop me a quick email and I'll get back to you ASAP.